Hi everyone, so today we are taking a look at how AI color grading resolved the shot matching problem forever. So let's take a look at 15.2 PFA Color Suite. So I have 4 shots here. The moment you change lens, then the moment you change and matching different cameras, there will always be shot matching issues. So we innovate this technology called correction lock. So basically, you don't need to use any color space transform. This reverses the engineering the log level of sensor data from all the camera and reverse them. So basically, no more searching and mapping the gamut, no more mapping of color space. Just use the Delogify slider, 1 slider, and reduce log exposure. You get the perfect, just 2 slider. You return the image from RED R3D to log. And you notice one thing, there isn't any saturation change as well as lens color change at all because we strip away the manufacturer saturations from this stage. We want to get a very clean base. So no matter what cameras you throw at it, we strip away the native manufacturer saturation. So our grade will synchronize everything. And that is the magic. The first step, if it goes wrong, everything for the shot matching will be harder later. So let's take a look. So we have different lens system, different characteristic of lens and whiteness as well as color. So we are going to show you how good the shot matching is in PFA Color Suite. Of course, you can do every single step we just grade with AI. For example, grade with AI correction exposure, correction white balance. We just remove the friction for you to do all the manual steps to nail the foundation. And of course, you just use the Delogify and log exposure to achieve a state where you want it to be. And that's it, full stop. And then you can use CinePulse AI, just generate a look. So based on the training we have done, we have 5 samples. We will filter through all the previous work I've done and activate all the 150 parameters for it to create a look. But at this stage, actually, this is a pretty nice look. I want to build everything from scratch. I will teach you how to train your own AI, okay? So let's start from scratch again. Great with AI, we increase the AI influence. Let's increase the exposure a little. I get a very nice foundation, correction exposure, correction white balance, and I get everything precisely. All right. Once I've done this step, I can go to correction print. I turn on the film emulation. This is the world's first 32-bit float math matching. So no more LUTs. Everything here, we have a camera negative, which is like the log format for film prints. So you can choose a very famous different kind of brands you want. And film print is like the conversion from print, the camera negative to the print result. So here is really the 32-bit float mapping. When you increase the print intensity, reduce the negative intensity, you get a very nice starting point. And then we can calibrate the exposure offset. We can use the subtractive density to bring out a little bit of color in the set. But guess what? Now we are completely working from a digital video format, RGB format, to a film print from here onwards. So we go to film spectral contrast. This brings back all the native sensor recording in RGB channels. So we just need to increase the red contrast, increase the green contrast, a little bit of the blue contrast. Look at just that one little tweak and step. How much very organic saturation we introduced to this thing, and no matter how much we have pushed so far, look at the shadows and all the noise. It's absolutely noise free in the process. Look at what we have done, and we can play back smoothly at full 30 frames per second of whatever timeline you shoot at it at 4K or 8K. Next, we go to film tonal curve. We want to increase the black point, shadow softness. This further matching the entire tonal range of the film prints. So you see what we have done here. The entire ecosystem is built step by step to guide you through the color grading process. It's a color grading one node system. We're using one node to create any look you want in the world. So next, we can go down to split tone. But in here, I don't want to split the shadow and highlight tone here, so I'm skimming this. I'm going straight to color density. This is where the filmic saturation comes in. More saturation means less light, just like how color dyes blocks more light as you saturate. So we reduce the global density, which inversely will increase the saturation of the image. And then we can decide, do I want more red density? Do I want more blue density? What kind of density do I really want to achieve in this shot? For example, there are pretty much of blue. And look at how dense the color has introduced. Let's increase the green density, as well as a little bit of the yellow density. We instantly bring the vitality of the image to life. So look at the before, look at the after, and just look at color density itself. It brings so much vibrance to the image without making things brighter and creating that very nice filmic saturation. And once this stage is done, we look at our color scheme, and this step we just need to turn on the map, adjust the skin hue, make sure 90% is in the orange tone. That means it's perfectly aligned with skin tone line and vector scope. Next is how fair you want the skin to be. You want it to be deeper or do you want it to be fairer? So I'm thinking the fairer point is a good starting point. And then we go to film glaze. This is the tertiary color grading. Film glaze is simulating the wetness and the creamy depth of film print. So increase the wetness volume and we increase the creamy depth volume, and look at how it instantly pops our entire image. Just that single little tweak, we bring back all the vibrance and the filmy quality and color right into the frame. Look at the before, look at the after. It's very subtle, but it makes a huge lot of difference. And next, we can go to film mix-up. This is where we are forming the palette. Do I want teal and orange palette? Do I want teal and pink palette? Will I increase to the max? Or do I want magenta and green palettes? So here you can decide exactly how you want to remove the distraction in the frame. So I cut away all the colors that is non-related to my palette I'm building, and I can use the RGB separate tuning to add those cyan or add those green into the frame again. And then we can increase the palette for red and cyan to further elaborate the palette. And we can use film printer lights to inject the atmosphere. For example, I want more green in the shots, I want more yellow in the shots. That builds kind of nostalgic scene in the shot. Or I want more cyan, I want things to be more cooler, I want more cyan and blue. And you turn on the production mask, you look at how great is this 3D isolation, as good as a depth map, but without running through the stress of the machine. So I want a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow in this scene, and that creates the vintage vibe that we want right away. And maybe I go now to film mixer, I lower the teal and pink a little, and I maybe reset a little bit on our red output, so we get less cyan and we get a pretty much nice result. And look at how the before and after of the entire image and how it well sync across shots. We go to the next shot, copy. Look at how everything, every grade we have done stays so perfectly across the frame. Look at that. Despite that we are actually doing a lot of changes, we are actually burning a very good result throughout all the shots. So of course, you can decide again. For example, I want different kind of mixture. I want teal and orange palette in this sense. Let's do a teal and orange in this sense. Just increase it. We get a totally different vibe and vitality to the different frames, and it still works super well. So look at how this clears all the problems for shot matching. We, from the root cause, solve the manufacturer saturation and lens color, stripping away from the entire process, add it back and grade it exactly where we want it to be, and we are able to synchronize the color, the shot matching, the exposure, everything flawlessly, and they are all film print emulations. For sometimes you want to correct the print, you can just switch one to try out different style. Look at how well they adapt to different environment, and that's when the print becomes a huge factor affecting your entire grade, because we are sort of, that's the foundation. Once you change the brake, every single thing will shift. So actually 3521 is still the best. So yeah. So that's how simple and easy for you to create the look. And next we can generate something. We can use CinePulse AI. We can do an AI training. Next I go to another shot. I can just filter to generate different looks, and look at how well different grades actually works for this scene. Right? We can lower the film look intensity, we can do a lot of differences we can make, not as intense, and that itself creates different prints and different results right away by calling 150 parameters. That's how you train the AI to really learn how you grade. I hope by the end of this you understand how powerful this engine is. It's not some fluff of AI engine built in to learn how you grade. At the same time, there are 32-bit float math engineering of film print conversion that doesn't exist in any other softwares. Essentially, our size of this installation is maybe 8 megabytes, but one LUT file itself can be 64 megabytes. And there are tools that are selling you gigabytes of film prints just by LUTs. And once you compound to a LUTs, you are limited to only 200,000 entries, but we have 1 billion colors out here for 10-bit, and for 32-bit float math, there's 6 billion colors. Why you conform yourself to LUTs? It doesn't make sense. Okay, this is 2026 way of color grading. So try your chance, test out the free trial, which is 13.3 right now. 15.2 we will release exactly in 1 month's time, and the price will hike again. So once you try out, you really like the features, then you can upgrade to a license, then using the code 1026 for enjoying 40% off. That's all for this episode. My name is Nash, Passion Fuels Ambition. I will see you in the next one.